My son today. Dane was adamant about how cannabis helped him. I lost my child, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, my own absolute DNA. I hope no parent, sibling, or family ever has to feel our unimaginable pain. Please support the compassionate use of medical cannabis so that individuals who truly need this plant can benefit from safe and legal access. Lives are continuing to be lost. I want to know, why are we still waiting in Pennsylvania? Thank you.
We have reached a time in this legislative process where we are overthinking and overprocessing what already may be one of the best bills of how Senate Bill 3 is currently laid out without any amendments. We are just turning patience. By not allowing dried flowers, we are making it not cost effective or medicinal. We must be special processes to produce the oils that are truly healing medicine. Hemp oil is not as medicinal as someone tries to tell us, strictly because it pulls all the contaminants out of the soil it is grown in, the heavy metals and such as well. We do not want these in our body. Hemp has a great industry in Pennsylvania in our future, but mostly as textiles and building materials. True medicine comes from the flowers of medical cannabis strains, the flowers themselves, and the oils that they can produce from you pure. I would like to introduce to you our special guest today from New Jersey, where she's been working with legal cannabis, making patient oils, and working in the industry. Let me introduce to you Ms. Patty Dubinsky from Blue Planet Biotechnologies.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Patricia Dubinsky, and I'm the co-owner of Blue Planet Biotech. I'm here to speak to you about the different means of extracting concentrates from cannabis and how it affects the patient. It seems that the state of Pennsylvania is restricting the use of cannabis to oils, ointments, tinctures, liquids, gels, pills, and similar substances. Depending on the mode of extraction, some of these oils will not be used in a vaporizer and do not work as quickly or efficiently as with some ailments as vaping the whole flower. So far, the preferred method of extraction has not been stated, and this is very important. It's important because the purer the product, the more expensive it's going to be for the patient to purchase. First, let me tell you about the different methods of extraction. The first method is an oil carrier extraction. It's a very good extraction method, but it's not good for making large quantities of oils. And that's because they usually use hemp seed oil or olive oil as a carrier. Both of these oils have a limited shelf life and must be properly stored. This product is best if it's eaten or applied topically rather than being vaporized or smoked. My fear with using this method that if smaller quantities are created, some patients would have to wait to receive their medicine. The second method is the solvent extraction. It's low cost and easily obtainable. It's a very simple process, but unfortunately, it is the most dangerous technique. The solvents used are usually butane, isopropyl alcohol, hexane, or ethanol. And there are several reasons why this method should not be used. One is the potential for explosions. The second, it is difficult, if not impossible, to completely remove any and all traces of the solvent from the end product. Reducing the safety of the substance and essentially removing the justification for using the medicine over simply smoking the flower. This method can negate any positive aspect of choosing to medicate with cannabis oil, potentially worsening an existing medical condition or leading to new ones. It can destroy the therapeutic effects of the plant. And lastly, the safest method is super or subcritical CO2 extraction. This is the cleanest method. This method employs extremely high or low temperatures to provide a protective environment in which the CBDs are preserved and isolated. This particular approach may not present the best alternative for many small-scale producers, as they are expensive and the equipment is technically complicated, the operation of which usually takes a while to perfect. Although the quality produced is potentially the highest grade in purity and potency, this method usually requires a large financial investment, as well as a large investment in time. There is a trial and error experimentation period to go through until a perfected process is achieved. The cost of this process would surely be filtered down to the patient, which in my estimation would make it virtually impossible for some people to be able to afford their medication. We believe that a combination of whole flower, oils, and tinctures benefit the patients the most. Patients need to have a choice as to what works best for them. If you are a patient looking for pain relief, you would want immediate relief. By ingesting the oil, it usually takes between 45 minutes to an hour to receive the desired effect. If you were able to vaporize the flower, you would get immediate relief. This is supposed to be about patience, and when the choice is taken away from the patient, some are forced to resort to obtaining their medication illegally, something that I believe that the state is trying to avoid. Thank you.
We have patients here that would not be here without cannabis access, that are illegally here, because they simply are running out of time. We must stop prosecuting patients who hold medical cards from other states as well. Patients like Tony, who hold a California card stating they can have up to 46 grams of cannabis a year. But in Pennsylvania, small possession leads to a felony record. Let me introduce you to Tony Allison.
Hey. Yeah, so I'm just here to tell my part. I'm a patient. I'm a current patient here. I'm also a current patient in California, where my doctors, they know what's right. But because I chose to be here with my children, not even a fraction of what my doctors allow me has ruined my life. And I'm stuck. I can't go back. I'm stuck here. Ruined my life. Kind of ruined my children in the same aspect. Look at me right now. It's just I'm a nervous wreck. But it's ridiculous. We're still sitting here. Why? I crunch. I don't know how many times up these steps. Every time we can. Why? Because if not, who else is going to do it? So, again, I'm here just to tell my part. We need to wake up. Who's got to die? Why? Enough's enough. I'm done waiting. So, hopefully they wake up today.
I truly believe in my heart that our legislators are doing the best that they can to try and make this bill that workable yet contained and regulated. We need very few amendments to Senate Bill 3 as it sits. We have to take into consideration what we're trying to do. If we force our market to concentrates, there will never be enough flour to produce the oil. And once it is made, it will be unaffordable. An average pound of medical cannabis flour can be burned for around $500. Even with taking it through all the steps, it would be more cost efficient to not process it and allow other methods of ingestion. When we are at events, we always have support. In Hanover, the weekend, you can barely hear speakers from all the horns blowing constantly. We have the people support. We've been taking it to the people. We are Pennsylvanians for safe access. Our group represents about 2,000 patients in Pennsylvania. We are just one group of the many wonderful advocates throughout the state. A good workable bill must have many components. Growers need to be able to have the material tested and sell it to processors or dispensaries, not be in charge of growing and processing. This bill must ensure patient safety. It is important to have state-approved laboratories that will test for cannabinoids and their percentage levels, and they should also test for homogeneity and contamination such as mold spores, pesticides, and parasites. This will not only create jobs, it will create a secure feeling for patients who are worried about receiving contaminated medicine that could make their illnesses worse or even cause death. There must be a state-approved processing license granted to processing facilities to ensure proper medicine is being made under the correct extraction methods, and that it is lab-tested and certified. Processing facilities must be making medicine that will help patients, not just make profit. The processing facility must also produce the medicine in the forms that are allowed under the law: oils, topicals, capsules, tinctures, suppositories, etc. The titrations or adjusting of the medication is not always the same for each patient. Some patients are not capable of eating edibles, and some patients are not capable of vaping. That is why we cannot restrict medical cannabis to only oils, topicals, and concentrates. We must have access to dry flower. We must be able to vape as rescue medication for epileptic patients, pain patients, and patients with PTSD. The best vape is a high CBD dried flower at low temperatures. Not everybody has an hour to wait for medicine to kick in, or for a capsule, or for an edible. Homemade edibles are made by the heating process above the deep carboxyl temperature, which will take away the THC and THC and carbonate them into THC. THCA and THC have been found to be better medicine for medicinal properties than THC, or CBD, etc. You need the healing properties of the whole dried flower, not the properties of the oils that make you hot. Vaping dried flower material or oil at a low temperature is the healthiest way to titrate your dose, and the best way of consumption to date. Most doctors recommend vaping for this reason because it allows for all the CBD and THC to be utilized. Dried flower being readily available after state-regulated testing is crucial to have patient access. If you are processing all flower materials into oils, it will be a long process that will require testing at several stage levels, which will make the products higher priced, but also have a longer wait time for the product itself. That would also require the need of 4 to 10 times the product material. Yet federally still, a grower may not only grow more than 99 plants, leaving long periods of time that no one will have access to medicine. I'm hearing there may be a proposed cap of 10% THC. If imposed upon a bill in Pennsylvania, it will hinder many patients. Marijuana is 100% THC synthetic that is already on the market and prescribed daily. That's a Schedule III drug. There's a patent from last year from GW Pharmaceuticals that is 50% as a spray. Does our legislators even understand cannabinoids enough to say there needs to be a cap? Example is 10% THC cap. Just the THC down to 9 percentage, or the THCA and the THCV cumulative. If it is cumulative, you are air-cooling strains that will help AIDS, cancer, and pain patients, and severely limit several other conditions such as Crohn's. For example, Death Star strain has a 0.62% THC level, but a 36.4% THC collectively. That would be 37.2% THC. But if you only go by the THC down to 9, the value is less than 1%. A high THC product is needed to make cancer cells commit suicide, killing the cancerous tumors. By capping the THC, are we saying we do not want to cure their cancer? We just want to help their symptoms? THC is necessary to be able to use in place of pain management, just as there are different levels of opiates. We must be able to have access to low-dose strains and high-dose strains. After all, isn't the goal to help curb our opiate addictions and help with the heroin epidemic statewide? Are we seeing a good program being set up in Pennsylvania, or are we overthinking and trying to regulate it to death? There has not been one death from overdose on the books anywhere from cannabis in the last 5,000 years. By legalizing medical cannabis, we could cut our opiate deaths by 25%. If we allow our pain management patients access, we could also cut our heroin epidemic severely by allowing patients to have a non-toxic, detoxifying medication like cannabis instead of Suboxone or methadone. As these advocates for all these people and myself, I have represented us at many of the government functions. I have attended Senate hearings, two joint council series of hearings in Harrisburg and Philadelphia. I submitted written testimony and a copy of my petition with over 2,300 signatures as testimony for the Senate hearing, and also submitted testimony to the fair testimony hearing. PA Safe Access got started spending 2 days straight here at the Capitol in May trying to change minds. First, we walked every box, stopped at every office, and handed out information. On June 1st, we went down to a public restaurant was letting patients vent their frustration. On July 1st, we did the same thing and reps were ready for us. They sent us Representative Dean and announced the task force. The task force spent 12 weeks gathering recommendations for this bill, and they are constructing for us here in PA. And yet, we are still waiting, suffering, some of us dying or moving, but we haven't stopped. We lobbied the House task force, we have rallies in Towanda, Altoona, Hanover, we have a forum and question and answer session scheduled at State College on Tuesday, November 24th. We are now taking it to the people. We are not going away. We are watching people die, wondering if the ambulance ride will be their last, obtaining illegal medicine from all the other states. We are forced to go to funerals of those who we love when we know they could have been helped if we would have had the money to move to another state. Families like Andrew and Dina Wilson and their epileptic daughter Marley moved to Colorado to get medicine for her and sold their house in Pennsylvania. People like Jessica Hawkins and Nina Mitchell taking Antonine to Florida and Colorado to the experts who are helping save her life. Patients everywhere are counting on this state to have the courage to stand up for the sick. I am standing up here today for those who cannot stand for themselves. PA Safe Access has been teaming up with Keystone Cannabis Coalition, Campaign for Compassion, Northeastern Cannabis Coalition, Philadelphia Normal, Pittsburgh Normal, Lancaster Normal, and Women's Group Philadelphia. We are united as a coalition, and we will continue to educate and demand change. Together, we can all push this over the edge. We were once just a few, and then there were some, and now there are many, and we are not going away. We are still waiting, but we demand action. All lives matter, especially our sickest and dying. We are fortunate enough to have some great allies, however, in this house and in this great building. Let me introduce you to one of those right now, my personal favorite, Mr. Ed Dean.
First and foremost, I just want to say thank you. Before I begin, can we give Senator Fulmer, who was standing right here, if he would step out, just a hand for his leadership, moving forward, put your hand up and stay confident. Without the courageous efforts of Senator Fulmer, we wouldn't be this close today. We know that something is brewing in the House, and that sooner or later something will come out. And we're hoping that what come out is good for the people. And that's why I'm happy today to see all the parent advocates come up here today. And nobody really knew what was coming out today, but to have the parents up here right now with something maybe coming out, I think is fantastic. Let's give the parent advocates a big hand, please. If we stay together, we can get something done. This is not from the will of the legislature, it's from the will of the people. The people today came together to make sure that they continue to put pressure on us like they should to get a deal done. And though we may be close, we haven't scored yet. We have to make sure that we bring out a product, a bill that is good for the patients and the families that oversee patients, so they are getting the type of relief that they need. Today is not the end, but it's the beginning. It is a new round that we must continue to fight to make sure that whether we amend this, whatever we need to do to make this a great bill, that we do it for the people of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. But today we should be happy. Because a year ago, we wasn't this close. A year ago, we wasn't talking about bringing it out of the community. But by the will of the people, we are here. And though it may not be perfect, though we may have to add some things, my promise to you that day, as is today, that if we stood together, if we work together, if you help to apply pressure, we will bring forth a diamond. And I still stand on that concept that whatever comes out of community make it better for the people of Pennsylvania. So today is not the victory, but it's moving forward to making sure that we bring a bill that is good for the Commonwealth. Thank you.
That pretty much wraps up the speaking for today, but I'd like to thank everybody from Campaign for Compassion for hanging in there for the last 2 weeks doing your sit-in. It's been a wonderful, noticeable effort that everybody has been talking about. So good job, Campaign for Compassion. Like I said, that wraps it up. If anybody has any questions or